Welcome everybody back to the Robbins Racing channel. We are here this evening at Fuji Speedway for Thursday Night Lights, the 22nd edition here at Robbins Racing. This is the weekly event that we have here on right here at Robbins Racing. It's been running since the end of August, and even in the off season you can always bank on a good Thursday Night Lights. Currently top of the pile we've got Matty Cake as one of the newish drivers here to Robbins Racing. Raced in our GT3 championship for a round, wasn't really for him, but we know he's got lots of talent and used to actually race cars in real life. He decided that sim racing was a lot more financially easy on his, well, just much more financially better for him than actual real racing. So he's showing his talent here currently here on the Robbins Racing track, and he's got a 146.8, half a second clear of the rest of the field currently in this qualifying session. Says he likes any cars other than front wheel drive. He's been sim racing for 3 years. Misses the feel of a real car, but can handle the affordability of sim racing versus real racing, and says he still hasn't figured out how to do the fast pit stops here on this game. Well, I'm sure he'll figure that one out with help, a little bit of help from his Robbins Racing friends. Currently P2 in the session is Richie95. Good to have Richie on the track with us. Has finished second in the past two of our Saturday night prototype seasons. First season when it was LMP1, he was second to Champ, and in the second season he was second to Flaky, who has since left our Discord. But Richie's always been there or thereabouts in the LMP LMP championship here at Robbins Racing, and he's showing his class here in these GT4s as well. Currently sat P2, 0.2 of a second off of pole position as it stands in this session. Lightblade currently P3. He's brought it into the pits, so he may get a chance to get out there and do one more lap. We'll have to wait and see. NRP is currently P4 in this session. Nicky, our resident marshal from Silverstone, is actually a league coordinator now on our Discord. He's I believe he's now in charge of the TC2 league, which is the touring car second division, and he's currently running around in P4, doing a good job. Was on the podium in both races last week in at Spa in the Renault RSs, and he's doing a good job here. P4 for Nicky currently in this session. Still a minute and a half left to go. Falguest currently running in P5. Falguest is our 26-year-old from Cornwall. He's joined the lobby on Project Cars 2, found out about us that way, and has been hooked ever since. He's raced karts in real life, has been a karting champion in his time, and a big Fernando Alonso fan as well, apparently, according to my sheet here. He recently, well, not recently, but he joined over the Christmas period, so a couple of months ago now, and he loves the clean racing here here at Robbins Racing. As you can see, he's got a little bit of traffic here in front of him. Let's hope he negotiates that nicely. And Richie has absolutely blown away the rest of the pack here. He's gone 0.3 faster than Matty Cake. Can Matty Cake respond here on what is going to be his penultimate run of this session? Here he comes, Matty Cake over the line. He can't improve at the moment, so Richie's going to stay on provisional pole position, but he's still got Lightblade, Nicky, Falguest, Amber Chewy out there on a lap time as well. Amber Chewy's our South African, racing out of Ireland at the moment. Has been absent for the last few weeks. Good to have him back with us on the track here. Races with the T300 and loves the older cars. Big fan of GTE and endurance races. So not really his type of thing here, but he does seem to be getting a good grip of it at the moment. And doesn't pride himself on being the fastest, but he does pride himself on being clean, he says. Meanwhile, we got Aussie Albie currently running in 7th position. Aussie Albie is a migrant to the UK, originally from Australia, I believe, as far as I know. And he's, am I right in thinking he's 43 years old? Is that right, Albie?
42 now.
42 years old, Aussie Albie, Australian, and currently running in P7 in this session, 1.7 seconds off the pace. Swiss Tony currently running P8. He's got a bit of slipstream here as he comes round on his final run of the session. Can he improve? Currently P8 for Swiss Tony. Is it going to be an improvement as he comes over the line? It looks like it is not. He's going to remain P8 for the time being. VMX currently P9, still out there on a lap time. Tuggy Bear is coming through the middle sector now. P10 in this session. The only G late stand-in for this race in P11. Can he improve? It looks like he's got a little bit wide there. That may be lap invalidated. John Boy still out there in 12th place. Old Smokey looks like he's pitted from 13th. We've got Alright Turkish coming out of the final turn now. Alright Turkish always gives us a lot of support in the chat on the YouTube channel, and now you can actually see him on the track. Here he comes towards the end of the lap. Currently in P14 in this session. Can he put himself in amongst it here? Alright Turkish is going to come over the line, and let's see what time he's going to get. Here he comes. It's going to be a slight improvement, but it's not enough to elevate his position in this session, so he stays where he is for the time being. NRP, the only man who can get pole position, maybe, although Lightblade's still out there as well. Can NRP improve his position? No, he cannot. Lightblade still out there, but he's done as well, so that's his session over with. Falguest has pitted. Aussie Albie's out of the session, so it looks like it's going to be Richie 95 starting on pole position, unless VMX Rider can do anything. Here he comes through the final corner. Looks like he's still on lap time at the moment. He's absolutely throwing the car through the last turn. What's VMX Rider going to do? Who else is on a lap time? It looks like the only G is bailed out of his time. John Boy's still out there in anger. VMX Rider is going to come over the line now. Coming towards the final part of the lap. Is it going to be an improvement for him? Currently P9 in this session. Here he comes, VMX Rider. It's not enough. Is the only G going to improve on his lap time? No, he can't. John Boy, what's he going to do? Here he comes. It looks like he's not going to be an improvement. So it's going to be Richie 95 starting on pole for this one. Alongside him, it's going to be Matty Cake. Then we've got NRP and Lightblade lining up on row 2. Amber Chewy, Foul Guest behind these guys. Aussie Albie and Swiss Tony. VMX Rider, Tuggy Bear, the only G, John Boy, Old Smoky, Alright Turkish. And Jag is going to line up at the back. Very, very late entry into the qualifying session. We had a bit of a struggle getting him in, but we did eventually manage to get him involved. So it's good to see that all the guys who signed up for Thursday Night Lights here this evening have managed to get on the grid. That's what we want to see. So as far as that's concerned, it's been a booming success. Let's hope that these guys can keep it clean and tidy on the track. I'm sure they can. These guys, some of the cleanest, fairest sim racers on the PlayStation 4 platform. We can't wait to get this going. It looks like we've got a couple of guys still trundling around the track, and it looks like VMX Rider's lagged out of the session. So VMX Rider's going to have to bail out of this one because he's lagged out. That's very unfortunate for VMX Rider. Gutted for him. It looks like his session is over. Welcome back everybody. RDJ says good luck to drivers out tonight. Jeff Sharp says evening Andy. Tro says good luck to the boys. We're about to go guys. We've got 20 seconds to go until the start of the sprint race here for Thursday Night Lights. The 22nd edition here in the GT4s at Fuji. We've got Richie on pole, Matty Cake alongside him, NRP and Lightblade right behind these guys. When these, it looks like we're almost about to go. The timer's got 5 seconds, so these guys are going to have to ready up. And here we go. So when these lights go out, we will be underway for the 22nd edition of Thursday Night Lights here, the sprint race here for Robbins Racing. Tensions are high. It looks like we're about to go, and it looks like we're underway. And a great start there on the right hand side from Richie. Gets away perfectly. Matty Cake a little bit bogged down. He's got NRP attacking into the outside here. Looks like NRP already passed Lightblade here as they come into turn 1. Who's going to be brave on the brakes here? It looks like we're all pretty clean so far. It looks like we've got some 3 wide in the background there. Looks pretty good though, and we see a little bit of contact there. A KTM and a Janetta both going round there in the background. Not a great start for a couple of the guys. Looks like Jag, Swiss, Tony and Tuggy Bear all caught up in that one. Old Smoky also. But Richie's clear away at the front, and he's got a 1.8 second lead already. Lightblade's got past Matty Cake there into second place. It looks like Matty Cake's got a little bit pushed out there, and Lightblade's up into P2. We've got Matty Cake trying to fend off Falguest. What a start there from Falguest, up into 4th. The only G, incredible start. He's made his way up into 5th place already, but he's being passed on the inside there by NRP, and he might have Alright Turkish looking to the outside of him, coming into turn 3. It looks like at the moment he's going to hold on to the position though, but Alright Turkish taking a very wide line there, coming through turn 4, and that's not going to help him one bit. He's going to now have Amber Chewy looking to the outside and Aussie Albie looking to the inside here. These guys are going to go 3 in a line coming towards the chicane, and Aussie Albie is going to make a very audacious move towards the inside. In the end, that's to back out of that one. Amber Chewy, the victor and all of that, but in the background there, you can also see the only G almost. Is that the only G? No, it was actually NRP almost losing control, and we've got a Janetta round on the exit of the chicane. That's Alright Turkish. He's got it going again, P12, down to P12 for Roy Turkish, now P13. Swiss Tony has had an absolute mare of a first lap here. He's down to P12 already. We've got a little bit of argy-bargy going on. Looks like there's lots and lots of cars in a very, very short space here on the track. Looks like we're just about holding it together for the time being. There's a KTM there absolutely flying through the traffic. That looks like Old Smoky absolutely breezing past everybody there as we come out of the final turn to complete the first lap here. Old Smoky now trying to make inroads here on Aussie Albie. It looks like these guys have been absolutely left for dead. NRP driving all by himself in 4th, but Richie, Matty Cake and Lightblade clear away at the front. And Matty Cake looks like he's got back past Lightblade here, but Lightblade's going to look to the inside here at the first turn 1. Can he make a move? We know that the Janetta is down on straight line speed here at Fuji. The Porsche, the Aston and the KTM have all got a massive advantage here over the Janetta in a straight line, but for the time being it looks like Matty Cake's holding on here from Lightblade. NRP in 4th position. The only G has managed to come out on top in this battle here for 5th, but we've got 5, 6 cars in a line here coming down towards turn 2. It looks like the Energy's leading this car of Amber Chewy, John Boy, Aussie Albie and Tuggy Bear in the background trying to get involved. Swiss Tony's also closed onto the back of these guys, and we see there Tuggy Bear getting a little bit loose there coming through turn 3. That's going to allow Swiss Tony to pick up P9. What's going on back at the front? Lightblade and Matty Cake still continuing their battle for P2, and while these guys battle it out, that is allowing Richie to pull away here at the front. So Richie 95 has now got a 2-second lead, but that gap not really extending more than what we saw earlier on. And as we see there, Lightblade taking a little bit too much curb there on the exit, on the entry, sorry, to the chicane, and that will obviously tempt Matty Cake to go for a move. What's going on in the background here? The Only G has pulled out a bit of a gap here to these guys in the mid pack, so he's doing a good job here. And we saw some contact there between, oh, is that John Boy and Amber Chewy there having contact? Looks like Amber Chewy maybe turning him around, and alright Turkish there running straight into him, so that's not what we wanted to see there. John Boy and Amber Chewy seems to have got it going once again. Meanwhile, we've got Aussie Albie, Tuggy Bear, Old Smoky and Falguest going in a line here as we come through the final couple of corners of lap 2. Looks like Aussie Albie, for the time being, is coming out on top in this little scrap here. But Falguest has made some moves here. It looks like he's made a double overtake, and he's going to hold it around the outside here of Old Smoky coming out at the last turn. But these guys are going to be a battle of the slipstream here as they come down the main straight. And as you can see here, Falguest has got Old Smoky and Tuggy Bear all over his mirrors as they come down the pit straight to complete lap 2 of this race. In the meantime, we've got Richie still leading the pack here. He's pulled out the gap actually. He was 2 seconds quicker than Matty Cake last time around, and he was actually a second quicker than Lightblade, so he's definitely got the pace here out front. Our Frenchman here doing a fantastic job at the moment here in Thursday Night Lights, the 22nd edition here in the sprint race in the GT4s. Brilliant driving from Richie so far. Let's hope we can keep this up and keep this rich reign of form as we see NRP still running in P4 and maintaining that gap to the leaders. Must be said, he's doing a solid job at the moment, keeping them in sight, not letting them run away with this one. But at the moment, looks like Richie is the class of the field. Swiss Tony has made some gains here. He's moved up into P5. He's got past the Only G. We missed out on the stream, but Swiss Tony looks like he's on his way. Last time around, Swiss Tony at 1:49.7, so he was a lot quicker than the guys around him. 3 seconds quicker than the Only G. As we see in the background here, looks like Aussie Albie and Falguest are going to go side by side coming into the check. Can Falguest go for a move here up the inside? Looks like Aussie Albie's going to go very late on the brakes. Is Falguest going to hold it on the inside? Looks like they're going to go side by side from the chicane, and Aussie Albie's going to hold him off, but Falguest looking to the outside and to the inside there, but couldn't quite make the move. But he's going to try and get the undercut here. The Ginetta we know is so quick in the middle sector, but it's in the straights where it's the other car, where the KTM is really leaving it for dead here. And if Falguest doesn't make this move before the end of the lap, then he's probably going to be absolutely ditched by the time these guys get that halfway down the pit straight. Here we go. Looks like Aussie Albie for the time being holding on to that position, and he's also in turn closing in on the Only G. So both of these guys definitely making inroads here. The Only G looks pretty precarious there in P6 at the moment. He's got a train of cars all closing in on him as we see that KTM slotting into the slipstream here coming down, and looks like we've got Falguest in the background there, Old Smoky still there, and Tuggy Bear also in the slipstream of Old Smoky. So nothing to separate these boys here as they come over to complete lap 3. Amber Chewy in the background looks like he's all by himself at the moment. We've got John Boy and Alright Turkish and Jag currently at the back of the field in the Ginetta. Not having a great evening so far, but let's see if we can get this one sorted out and make some adjustments to that car. In the meantime, what's going on at the front? We've got the Only G still trying to fend off Aussie Albie, but he's got Aussie Albie and Falguest right behind him now. He's going to be a hell of a task here for the Only G. It's not easy at all, and it looks like Aussie Albie's up the inside there of the Only G, breezed past him. You can see that KTM's got so much more grip through that corner, and the Porsche not in any position at all to defend from him. And here we go. It looks like we've got Falguest in the background here trying to make a move as well. Still free in the line though at the moment. We've got Richie not actually pulling out the gap anymore. In fact, last time around, Matty Cake was actually a little bit quicker than Richie. So he seems to be getting it together at the moment, Matty Cake. And Richie's definitely got something to worry about. It looked in the early laps like Richie was going to have this one to himself, but Matty Cake pulling back and getting back into this race. Lee Kendall says that, sorry guys, internet dropped out. That's VMX Rider there saying that unfortunately he was the victim of the game popping out there. I think it was actually the game freezing rather than the internet dropping out. We saw his car frozen at the end of the pit straight there at the end of qualifying. Very unlucky. Let's hope he can join us back for the feature race. It looks like we've got Richie here, 3 seconds to the good of Matty Cake. Matty Cake last time around a little bit slower, so these guys trading blows at the moment. Lightblade in 3rd position. We've got NRP currently going round a second and a half slower a lap than our leaders, but going quicker than anyone in the mid-pack behind him. So it looks like he's in a land of his own at the moment, is NRP, our man from Silverstone and lead coordinator. New addition to our lead coordinator team here at Rubbings Racing. Swiss Tony currently running the P5, and looks like Falguest is going to try to fend off the only G and Aussie Albie here. Looks like the only G's gone back up the inside of Aussie Albie. A little bit of argy-bargy there. The only G very aggressive coming into turn 1, and Aussie Albie picks up the position once again. Looks like the only G actually relinquishes that position in the end. So we saw a little bit of questionable driving, but very, very good sportsmanship in the aftermath of that one. So the only G in the end making way for Aussie Albie, knowing that he's done him wrong there, and rectifying that. In the background, we've got Tuggy Bear coming around in P9, closing the gap to these guys. In fact, last time around, Tuggy Bear was a second quicker than Aussie Albie, and he was 2 seconds quicker than the only G. So watching Tuggy Bear at the moment, he's one to watch. He's absolutely flying. Our man from Chesterfield. What is Amber Chewy doing? He's P10 at the minute, currently rounding out our top 10 here. 28 seconds off of the pace, and he looks like he's coming into the chicane here. Old Smokey in P11 at the moment. What's going on with Battlehead P5? It looks like Swiss Tony's coming under pressure here from Falguest. Falguest is closing now. Oh, Falguest has lost it! Coming through the turn after the chicane. We've got a yellow flag coming through the middle of the sector. Falguest has lost the car. Disaster for Falguest. He seemed to be making progress. He had got the moves done on Aussie Albie and the only G, and had Swiss Tony next up, but he's lost the car. He was lapping 2 seconds quicker than the guys around him at the time, but he's going to have to go again and regroup here. Falguest, it's just going to set him back a little bit more. It looks like in the foreground there, Tuggy Bear is looking to the inside here of it looks like he lost the car on the exit of the last turn actually, so that's not good for him. But Aussie Albie having a great battle here with Falguest. He looks like he's trying to hold him off. Falguest is right behind him coming down the pit straight here. You can see that he's got that Ginetta sorted out quite nicely actually. It's going quite good in a straight line. I did some testing in the Ginetta yesterday, and I found that it wasn't really hitting the same speeds down the straight, but it looks like the setup has been absolutely maximised here for Falguest. Trying to look up the inside here of Aussie Albie for P7, not able to make the move this time around. Last lap, Falguest lost 3 seconds to Swiss Tony, so that's not very good, but it's got out Aussie Albie in front of him, and these guys look like they're battling it out. But Swiss Tony currently is running all by himself in P5. He knows that these two guys have definitely got the pace to close in, but he has done a good job here of getting himself up into P5 so far in this race. Falguest once again looking to the inside there of Aussie Albie, and it looks like Aussie Albie's made a mistake. He's had a little bit of a switch there coming out of that turn, and that's going to allow Falguest up the inside. Can he hold it? They're going to go side by side up on the run up towards the chicane. It looks like he's on the inside here. Aussie Albie not able to fight back by the looks of it. Is he going to look to the inside here? It maybe not. It looks like Falguest has got the position done for the time being. So Falguest trying to make up for the incident that we saw a lap ago. It was actually this corner coming up where he lost it last time around. Let's watch him very closely and make sure he doesn't do the same thing again. It looks like he's going to hold it, but Aussie Albie's looking to the inside here, trying to distract him, trying to do anything he can to get him off, unsettle him, and try and get that position back. Falguest and Aussie Albie at the moment, side by side coming through this section, and just very good racing. These guys keeping it clean, keeping it tidy, and showing what Rubbings Racing is all about. And here we go, we got Aussie Albie looking to the inside, Falguest getting a nicer exit and gets a much better run, but Aussie Albie's going to slot into the slipstream here as they come down this very long, over a mile long, the pit straight here at Fuji Speedway, and it looks like he's going to slot into the slipstream, but not able really to close the gap properly. As we can see, Falguest doing a good job here, holding on to the position, keeping Aussie Albie thinking here, and is Aussie Albie going to have a look to the inside here, coming into turn 1. He's going to think about it, but he's unable to make the move for the time being. But on the second phasing of the braking, it looks like Falguest's got a little bit wide, and Aussie Albie's going to look to the inside here. It looks like he's gone up the inside, but these guys still side by side, still Falguest looking to the outside, still trying to get the position done. But in the end, backs out of that one. Aussie Albie is back up into P6. Fantastic racing between these boys, showing the others how it is done here in this sprint race here in the GT4s. Brilliant stuff from those guys. In the meantime, we've got Lightblade here, who is being closed in on now by NRP. In fact, last time around, NRP 4 seconds quicker than Lightblade. So Nicky has got that thing absolutely flying. These guys look like they're teammates. They've got the same livery, and both driving in the Ginetta here. It looks like at the moment, Lightblade holding him off, and Nicky goes a little bit wide there. So for the time being, it's as you were. Hopefully team orders won't come into play and these guys will be allowed to race and give it everything they've got here in the final 7 minutes of this race. We're on lap 7 of this sprint race. This is just a straight sprint to the line, no mandatory stop. It's a timed 20-minute race. Following that, there will be a feature race, double the laps of this one. It will be a reverse grid from the results of the sprint. So just to throw an extra challenge in there for the guys who finished up near the front. But it's as you were for the time being. Lightblade holding on to the final podium spot, but he is still being hunted by Nicky. And Aussie Albie and Falguest look to still be going at it here. Falguest is right in behind Aussie Albie in the slipstream here as they come out the final turn. And he's going to stop beautifully behind him. It looks like that KTM is holding on for the time being, but the Ginetta is absolutely on the pace here. We saw the last lap around. The Ginetta was actually pulling away from the KTM in a straight line. But it looks like whoever's the lead car here seems to be struggling. As we see now, there's the closing speed we thought we were going to see. And looks like Falguest moves to the inside here of Aussie Albie down a pit straight. Can he keep the move here, or is Aussie Albie going to fight back on the braking? It looks like Falguest a little bit earlier on the brakes, so Aussie Albie's going to look to the outside here. But Falguest is going to run him out of road there. Very good, sensible and intelligent driving there from Falguest. Just gave him just about not enough room to get by. And Aussie Albie sensibly not going for the move around the outside there. Falguest up into P6, but we know this battle's going to rage on. These guys very evenly matched, very similar lap times. Falguest was right up there in the early stages of qualifying, but tailed off. I think he started somewhere near the front. We'll have to have a look at that after the race, but currently we've got Falguest back up to P6. He's 4 seconds down the road from Swiss Tony for the time being, so that will be his next target, I'm sure. Both of these guys actually closing in on Swiss Tony. Last time around they were both half a second quicker than our man in P5, and Tuggy Bear likewise half a second quicker, so Swiss Tony's going to have to be looking over his shoulder in the last 5 minutes of this session. For the time being he's got P5, but Falguest is closing that gap, and so is Aussie Albie. Back with our battle here for the final podium spot as we come towards the finishing line to complete lap 8 here of this race. Lightblade is holding it, and he's actually pulled away a little bit on this lap. In fact, last time around Lightblade was 6 tenths quicker. Let's see what he is like this time around. Matty Cake lapping a second slower than our race leader Lightblade, 1:48 dead, and Nicky at 1:48.4, so still Lightblade lapping just a tad faster here than Nicky for the time being, but we know that the slightest mistake or the smallest lapse of concentration from Lightblade will allow Nicky to put himself right in there, in with a chance of finishing in the top 3 in this race. Currently Lightblade doing a phenomenal job here of holding off Nicky. He's been right behind him for a few laps now. Nicky will be feeling the turbulent air on that car, and these guys running same car, same livery, possibly even the same setup, so they're so evenly matched at this point. You could not really put your money on who's going to finish in third. Obviously you've got to go with Lightblade at this stage simply because he's got track position, but you just never know. When you've got Nicky behind you, it's never easy to defend. One of the hardest, cleanest and fairest races on this on Rubbings Racing. I know from last week in a feature race he's a very, very difficult man to keep behind, and you really do feel a sense of satisfaction when you actually race him wheel to wheel and keep him behind you. Currently Lightblade doing a good job here. Richie is still running in P1 at the moment. He's got 8 seconds of a lead here to Matthew Cake as he comes through the final couple of turns now to complete the 9th lap here. He's led pretty much from start to, in fact from, I think he's pretty much led from, he has led from the start. He has not been headed once here in this race. He's done a phenomenal job here. He's currently got an 8-second lead, lapping quicker than anybody else out there on the track. He's been the class of the field so far, and he's going to come over to start lap 10 here. It looks like we're going to be running, by the looks of it, looks like we're going to be running another 3 laps here of this race. So here comes Richie over the line, our Frenchman, runner-up in both of the Saturday Night Prototype Series here on Rubbings Racing. And it's always up there or thereabouts. Lee Kendall says, come on NRP, no team orders, push, push, push. Well, currently Lightblade's got the measure of him, Lee. He's actually pulling away. Lightblade last time around was 7 tenths faster than Nicky, so Nicky's struggling to keep with him at the moment. Maybe a mistake or two starting to creep in. He's feeling the pressure. He knows that podium spot is there for the taking, but he just can't get it at the moment. Lightblade is showing him what he's got and what he can't have at the minute. But Nicky, I'm sure, will push to the checkered flag and keep it going, keep that foot in for as long as he can. He's done a great job here so far. To actually fight back from a not so easy start, was a little bit down on the leaders to start off with. He made the gains, closed in very gradually on Lightblade. Once he caught up to him, it's become a little bit more difficult. Once you get the turbulent air in these cars, it's not always easy to follow. What's going on with Falguest? He's shaken off the challenge here of Aussie Albie, and he's put him right now, right up onto the back here of that's actually a lapped car. That's a blue flag there, so that's not Swiss Tony. I was thinking for a second there that might be Swiss Tony, but it is a car that's a lap down. So Swiss Tony still running in P5, currently 2 seconds up the road from Falguest here, and we can see Falguest lapping quicker. In fact, last time around Falguest was a second quicker than Swiss Tony, so the battle for the final top 5 spot here in the sprint race is still well and truly on. Swiss Tony has it, but Falguest certainly wants it here, and Aussie Albie seems to have been shaken off by Falguest in the battle here for P6. Tuggy Bear is all by himself in P8. We've got Amber Chewy, P9, all right Turkish, Old Smoky, John Boy, and Jag still going in 13th position at the moment. So it's all about this battle here for P5. We got Swiss Tony just 2 seconds here ahead of Falguest, but Falguest upping consistently quicker. Looks like Richie's coming around now, and he's on to the penultimate lap of this race. We're going to be running 12 laps here at Fuji in this sprint race, and Richie's controlled this one from the start up until this point, and barring any kind of major catastrophes in the closing stages of this race, he should have this one all done and dusted. But Swiss Tony's still got just over a second here to Falguest. Let's have a look at the split times and see who's running the quicker lap times here. Falguest is closing the gap by, in fact last time around Falguest was 2 seconds quicker than Swiss Tony, so he's got to be feeling the pressure now. Swiss Tony will know that Falguest is there and wants that position desperately. It looks like we're going to be doing 2 more laps of this one, so Swiss Tony has still got to be keeping him behind for quite a while yet. We know that Falguest has been knocking on that door. Didn't have an easy start to this race. Had a couple of spins, had a couple of moments which were just plain bad luck really. It dropped him way back down the field, but he's fighting him very, very hard here for this P5 position. We can see Falguest driving almost through the grass there, almost cutting the corner on the inside, just about keeping it within the track limits here, and he's right onto the back here of Swiss Tony now. He's going to look to the left, he's going to look to the right. Swiss Tony trying to park his car in the middle of the track and stopping him from going around the outside, but here we go. It looks like we're still going to go side by side, coming towards the chicane. Swiss Tony goes very defensive. Falguest is going to have to move to the outside. He pulls out to the left. Can he make the move around the outside? He's going to go for it. Can he make it done? Yes, he can. What a move there from Falguest round the outside of the chicane. He's up into P5. Can Swiss Tony do anything to come back at him, or has Falguest got the position? It looks like Falguest has pulled off an absolute world-class overtake there and has moved up into the 5th position here in this sprint race. A little bit of a slide there from Swiss Tony as he fights to keep that car under control. Can he keep, because the Aussie Albie behind him? Aussie Albie lapping quicker than Swiss Tony for the time being. We're just hearing a moan of dissent there. Don't know who that was from, but someone seems to be struggling out there on the track at the moment. Richie 95 is on the final lap of this race. He's coming through the long right-hander, turn 3 now, and it looks like he's got this one in the bag. He's absolutely dominated this race here this evening in the sprint race. He'll start at the back here for the feature, which is coming up shortly after this, but I just want to say well done to Richie so far in this race. It looks like he's got a bit of traffic here in front of him. That looks like it might be Old Smoky there in front of him as he comes towards them to negotiate it. It looks like Old Smoky and Alright Turkish there in front of him. Here we go, so Old Smoky pulls over to let our leader through, and it looks like Alright Turkish likewise, very sportsmanlike from these guys here in Robbins Racing, and we've come to expect none less. And here he comes, our Frenchman here, runner-up in the Saturday night Prototypes League here, Robbins Racing, and has raced in Thursday Night Lights a few times now. I know he always is running near the front. He's going to exit the final turn now, and he looks like he's going to take this one. Richie 95 doing a brilliant job. Took a pole in this one and has never looked back since. Took a late pole position actually. It wasn't. I don't think he held it for most of the session, but he's going to take it here. Richie 95 with the victory here in the sprint race for the 22nd edition of Thursday Night Lights here at Fuji in the GT4s. Matty Cake is going to come around in P2. Good driving there from Matty. Solid podium finish from him. Lightblade is coming up to the line now to complete the podium. Looks like he shook off the challenge there from Nicky. Nicky in the end is going to come around in 4th position. Where is Falguest? Falguest is coming into the last couple of turns now, and he's had a little bit of a moment there, and the Swiss Tony might sense an opportunity, but it looks like for the time being Falguest is going to hold on unless Swiss Tony can get a hell of a run out of the last turn. He's going to start into the slipstream here. Falguest currently holding P5. We saw him make the move around the outside of Swiss Tony a couple of laps ago. Is Swiss Tony going to be on for some immediate revenge? He's got the slipstream. He's got the pace. Can he get it? Is there enough time? Is there enough track left for him to do it? Here they come up to the line. Looks like Falguest is going to hold on for P5 ahead of Swiss Tony. Falguest, 5th position. Swiss Tony 6th. Tuggy Bear's coming round in 7th place in the KTM. Good driving from Tuggy. Aussie Albie is coming round in 8th position. Then we're going to Amber Chewy just behind him in 9th. John Boy is coming through the final sector at the moment in P10. He's going to complete the top 10 most likely, unless he crashes into the wall in the last part of the lap. We've got Alright Turkish who's a lap down, Old Smoky and Jag likewise. So just want to say massive congratulations to Richie. Dominated this race, ran off into the distance in that one, took pole, took the win. Let's hope that somebody can give him a fight in the feature. Stay tuned guys for the feature race that will be starting up in just a few moments time. Give us 10 minutes or so and we'll be away for that one. In fact, around 9 o'clock, let's say 9 o'clock, the feature race should be getting underway. Be sure to hit that sub, like and bell button and we'll see you very, very shortly. Welcome back guys, we've got Jag currently leading us around here for this formation lap. We're going to have odds starting on the right and evens lining up on the left. We're going to go at 50 miles an hour out of the last corner, and then once the last car is round onto the final, once the last car is onto the straight, then Jag is free to put his foot down whenever he wants. I'll call it once the final car's out and then we are ready to go. Double file please guys, odds on the right, evens on the left, and we'll be getting going here for this one. So once the only G is pulled out of the final corner, the track is live. So Jag, whenever you want mate, you can go. No one can pass you until the line, no overtaking until the line. Once Jag's gone, that's it, we're underway. And looks like he has gone. We're underway here for the feature race here in the wet for Thursday Night Lights 22nd edition here at Fuji in the GT4s. Looks like Jag's absolutely floored it out of the last corner. He's going to lead coming over the line, but he's got John Boy looking to the outside here, and Alright Turkish already attacking here. These guys 3 in the line here down the pit straight. It looks like he's going to go a little bit defensive. Can John Boy make a move up the inside? Looks like Jag's going to go very, very wide, and John Boy is going to make a move up the inside into turn 1. John Boy into the lead. Is Alright Turkish going to have a look here at the inside of Jag. Jag going a little bit wide, but holding it together for the time being. John Boy making the most of that, seizing his opportunity and putting it up into the lead of the race. A little bit of contact there in the background. Looks like Alright Turkish and Aussie Albie having a little. No, it wasn't Alright Turkish. It was actually Lightblade and Aussie Albie having a little bit of a moment there, coming together, coming out of turn 1. But it looks like Aussie Albie's kept 5th position for the time being. He's still got a train of cars behind him. Falguest, Tuggy Bear, Old Smoky, all going wide here, trying to get involved in this action. And you can see the spray there. I would not want to be one of those guys trying to navigate through that spray. That is absolutely treacherous, as we see somebody going very, very late on the brakes there up the inside. It looks like it was NRP trying to make the move there on Tuggy. It wasn't on NRP, sorry, it was actually Lightblade I think, or well, it might have been Tuggy trying to make the move up the inside of Aussie Albie actually. But here we go, we've got Janetta with Factory Janetta's trying to make a move coming into the chicane. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It looks like Jag is losing a couple of positions here. Alright Turkish is up into 3rd place. Falguest has made an unbelievable start. Falguest is up into 2nd place here in this one. Looks like we've got lots of cars trying to jostle a position here coming out of the chicane. Jag is getting absolutely swamped. Looks like NRP's gone up the inside. That's Tuggy Bear trying to make a move here on Jag, and we can see there in the background we've got NRP trying to make a move here on Aussie Albie. Aussie Albie looking to the inside there of Swiss Tony. Can he get the move? Looks like he's looking out to back out of that one. They're still side by side here, coming up towards the last turn. And Alright Turkish there is just trying to fend off Swiss Tony, but he's got a lot of traffic here behind him. And as we can see, coming out the last turn, looks like a very, very wide entry to that final corner there for Aussie Albie. He's now going to have NRP up the inside, and in the background there, Jag is going to have a lot of slipstreaming here behind him. Richie, our race winner in the first one, took a dominant victory in the sprint. He's up the inside, up into P7 here at the end of the first lap, so mega start here from Richie in this race. Matty Cake, what's happened to him? He's had an absolute mare of a first lap. He's down to P13. Incredible scenes. The man who finished 2nd in the sprint race is down in P13 in this one.
Who's that guy?
And what's happened here? It looks like Jag is going side by side with a couple of guys here. He's trying to get it in amongst Tuggy Bear. Jag is at the inside. Looks like he's made the move here on Tuggy. Can Tuggy fight back coming into turn 2? It looks like we've got the only G here trying to get involved in this action as well. Lightblade right behind, just waiting to to put his car in the mix as well. Tuggy looks like he got pushed out a little bit there, and the only G's can look to the inside here of Tuggy. This is the battle here for P9 in the meantime. What's going on further up? The All Right Turkish has been passed by NRP and Aussie Albie there. And looks like Aussie Albie's going to try and hold it around the outside, and there's a little bit of contact there between All Right Turkish and Aussie Albie. That's very unfortunate there. You can see other cars just trying to dive out of the way to avoid him, and the All Right Turkish ends up on his roof. Unbelievable. That is not good at all. We're going to move back to the race leader and see what's going on with John Boy. John Boy has been passed up the inside of the chicane by Falguest. So Falguest has made an unbelievable start to this race. Currently P1 after 2.5 laps here in this race. Swiss Tony, what's going on with him? Still trying to fend off NRP here. NRP has made a fantastic start also to this race, and you can see the leaders within his sights now. All he needs is just within a couple of seconds here of our race leader Falguest. NRP goes a little bit wide there, coming through the third to last corner. He's still got Swiss Tony just in front of him, and he can still go and do it here. We've got Fury saying, I took too long to make a strict pit strategy, sorry. JR says, who's on the mic? He sounds, no, well, Lee Kendall is also piping up here on the comments, and we've also got JR saying, go on John Boy, get that W. Looks like John Boy's lost that W for the time being. JR, he's down to P3, he's 2.3 seconds behind our race leader, but he's got the slipstream here on Swiss Tony. He's come down the pit straight. Can he make the move here? John Boy's got a great run on him. Is he going to look to the inside of turn 1? No, he thinks better of that one. Swiss Tony for the time being has got that position. JR Sim Racing offering his support here for John Boy in the chat, but John Boy's gone very, very wide to the first corner, and he might lose a position here to NRP. NRP's up the inside here. They're going to go side by side down this straight up towards turn 2. It looks like for the time being NRP's got that position all done and dusted, but can John Boy fight back here? It looks like NRP's going to fend him off and maintain third position here in this race. Good driving there from NRP. Falguest is pulling away at the front here. He was going quicker than anybody else at the moment on the track. He was 3 seconds quicker than our man in P2, Swiss Tony, but Swiss Tony has responded here in this lap so far. He's actually keeping him honest here and keeping him within his sight. You can see the spray coming off those cars there. It's definitely still soaking wet out here at Fuji for a feature race here for TNL 22 here this evening. Falguest doing a great job here. He made the moves, got the positions done in the early laps here, and he's got the position to show for it. And at the moment, no one really challenging him at the front. Swiss Tony is being homed in on now by NRP. The battle for second and third. John Boy coming out of the chicane in 4th position, dropped a couple of positions, was leading the race for a little while. JR Sim Racing is well behind John Boy this evening. Richie, Tuggy Bear, the only G. Then we got Lightblade and Aussie Albie, who seem to be very, very close on the road as well here. Not much at all between those guys. Old Smokey coming around in the final top 10 spot. Then we got Jag, who was running up front in the early laps. He's dropped back here. He's down in P11. Matty Cake, we know he's been in for his pit stop, but he still shouldn't be that far behind. I'm not sure what happened in Matty Cake's pit stop. He's we obviously P2 in the sprint race, but it's not gone to plan at all here for Matty Cake in this one, and I'm sure that he will not be at all happy with this one.
I forgot to change the tyres.
Lee Kendall says, Kembo doing an English accent. No, it's not Kembo, I'm afraid. But Matty Cake there just saying that he started on the wrong tyres in this race, had to change, and that would have been one lengthy pit stop, but he's now got it going again, and let's hope he can stay on the lead lap here in this one. I'm sure he's well capable of doing so. He's got the leaders not too far behind him. We saw as he was coming to the end of the pit straight, we could see the other guys in the background. So Falguest, Swiss Tony, NRP, all these guys will be coming round if Matty Cake doesn't keep his eye on the ball. But currently running in out the front, we've got Falguest leading the race by 1.6 seconds. Swiss Tony and NRP not too far behind, still keeping these guys in sight here. And is NRP going to go for a move here on Swiss Tony up the inside? Looks like he's going to be very, very late on the brakes, and he's up the inside. Can he hold it? He's going to push him a little bit wide there as he goes side by side, but NRP looks like he's got the position, and he's up into P2 here, pushes Swiss Tony out. Great stuff there from NRP. Can he hold the position, or is Swiss Tony going to fight back here coming up towards the chicane? He's going to look towards the inside, but NRP holding on the inside here, and Swiss Tony thought about making a move there. In the end, backed out of it. The NRP, great stuff there, up into second place. We've got some traffic here coming up. It looks like Falguest is coming up on some back markers here. That looks like it may be All Right Turkish. All Right Turkish is going to have to yield here. We've got the leaders coming up behind him, and it looks like he does. So that's good stuff there from All Right Turkish. That's what we want to see. His workmate and friend from Silverstone, NRP, comes past him, and he's actually going to be looking at Falguest now, because NRP last time around a second faster than our race leader Falguest. Amber Chewy says, NRP is on the move. Yes, he is, Amber Chewy. In fact, he's now within a second here of Falguest. And looks like he's closing ever closer here. He's in the slipstream here as they come down the pit straight. Falguest currently has it, but for how much longer, we just don't know. He's got NRP closing in, but down the straights, Falguest has got a slight advantage. Looks like he's running less downforce in that car. NRP going more for the higher downforce setup, which works brilliantly in the middle sector of this track, but it's down the straights in the first sector where Falguest is really leaving him for dead. And as we can see there, Falguest has got a second in hand by the end of the straight, but Falguest has gone very, very wide through turn one, and that's going to allow Nicky to get into the slipstream here. Maybe have a look to the inside. Is Falguest going to cover the inside? Yes, he does, very slightly, covers the middle line, but Nicky's still going to look to the left hand side, try to distract him in the mirrors, trying to do everything he can to put Falguest off, but in the end Falguest having none of it, still giving the position here ahead of Nicky, but Nicky giving it everything he can, looks to the inside. Falguest once again in the centre of the track, not really covering the position, and here he comes. Nicky pulls alongside him to the right hand side. He's going to try around the outside here of Falguest. Can Falguest hold it on the inside? Looks like he's going to go very late on the brakes, and Falguest very wisely not taking the bait, braking in his normal position, not getting phased by Nicky's late braking antics. And here we go, it looks like he's going to hold on to position and run Nicky out of road once again, but Nicky's still hassling the back of Falguest. Falguest taking a tight line there, but not as tight as Nicky's. Nicky's still looking to the inside, coming through the chicane, but Falguest doing a brilliant job here of defending that position, and bear in mind it's not easy to follow in these wet conditions, so Nicky is doing a phenomenal job here in this one. JR Sim Racing says Nicky has been looking strong the last few rounds, even in online lobbies. It's good to see him running up high in this one, so JR voicing his support there for Nicky. NRP, the Rain Man, says Lee Kendall. Rain Man was initially meant to be Lion's Foot, but he's not here this evening, so in his absence I suppose Nicky can take that title and be the Rain Man for this particular race. He's still right up the trumpet here of Falguest as we exit the final turn to complete what is lap 6 here. 0.2 of a second separate these two leaders at the moment. What's going on in the background? Looks like Aussie Albie and the Energy are having a battle, but looks like the Energy's back up the inside there of Aussie Albie. He's up into P7 once again. Good racing from these guys. Let's go back to our leaders. Falguest leads over the line, and you can see down the straights it's clearly got a lower downforce setup, and as we can see once again pulling that gap out as they come down the straight up towards the first turn, and he's got 0.6 in hand there under braking. But once again Nicky much better on the brakes, and it looks like he's going to move to the inside here of Falguest. Has he got the position done? It looks like he has. Nicky up into P1, so Falguest late on the brakes didn't work it out for him, and Nicky now with the lead of the race. Can Falguest fight back in the middle sector? It looks like Falguest, it's very much set up for a straight line speed, so Nicky now he's got some clear air and it's got some clear road in front of him. He might be able to pull this gap out on Falguest. Has Falguest got anything to offer him in these wet conditions?
Alright, mate.
Looks like at the moment Nicky is in control, but having said that, with the lower downforce setup for Falguest, it could play into his hands once the rain subsides and once the track starts to dry out. It could very, very well work out for him later on in the race. We've got a mandatory pit stop in this one. The race is going to dry out later on. Andrew Amachui says nerves of steel first and second. Yes indeed, these guys going at it, not one bit phased by what the other's doing. They're just going to battle it out and try and get the first position here. This is for bragging rights, Thursday Night Lights here. This is the feature race, and many a great driver in Robbins Racing has won here in Thursday Night Lights in the past. It's one of the staples here at Robbins Racing. This is the 22nd edition. We've had 21 prior to this one, and at the moment these guys are giving it absolutely everything to win here in our showpiece event. Run every single Thursday here at Robbins Racing. NRP for the moment looks like he's pulling out the gap here to Falguest actually. Falguest not able to stay with him for the time being. We know Falguest has got some incredible pace down this straight. Let's see if he can close it. And having said that, look at that, Falguest loses it coming down the straight. What happened there? Maybe a lapse of concentration, or maybe he went to take a swig of a drink or something, but his car absolutely flew off to the left hand side, and goodness knows what he was doing. Maybe checking his phone. You shouldn't be texting while driving, Falguest. It looks like Swiss Tony's going to look to the inside here of turn 1. Can he make the move up the inside? Swiss Tony thinking about it, and he's made the move. He's going to run him out of road. Yes, he is. Swiss Tony up into P2 with Falguest. We know he's got the straight line speed. Can he fight back here? Coming down the second straight up towards turn 2. He's going to go to the left-hand side here, but for the moment, it looks like Swiss Tony's got the position done, and Swiss Tony now making haste. Actually, last time around, Swiss Tony faster than our race leader, NRP. So he's got some real pace here, but we can see here Falguest looking to the outside here of Swiss Tony. Can he hold it around the outside, or is Swiss Tony going to run out of road here? They're side by side coming through turn 3. Falguest on the outside. Looks like like he's going to make him stick. What a move, Falguest. We see once again he makes his mistakes, but boy oh boy, he's got some talent when it comes to overtaking. He goes around the outside of Swiss Tony. Such bravery. He did not care about the rest of that one. He just went for the move on the wet line there and made it stick. Brilliant stuff from Falguest. Can Swiss Tony fight back here? These guys are losing time to NRP while they battle it out. JR Sim Racing says that K-Man will be quick here in the dry tricky car in the wet. And he also asked about puddles. There's not too many puddles, I don't think, at the moment, JR. Although drivers may have a different story. I can't see too many. It looks like we've got light rain at the minute. It looks like it's just a bit of a covering for the time being. Josh Morris says Tuggy Bear for the win. Tuggy's currently running in P6 at the moment, Josh, and he's got a little bit of a company here. Looks like Aussie Albie's looking to the inside of him, but Tuggy is right up the chuff here of John Boy, sorry. And can he go up the inside here? It looks like he's not going to close enough to make the move. He's trying to defend from Aussie Albie. It looks like Tuggy's gone a little bit wide there for the time being, and Aussie Albie's going to look to the outside, but he can't make the move. And a little bit of contact there. The only G popping his car in the middle there. Aussie Albie losing out in that little exchange. The only G looks like he's moved up into 7th position. The only G still trying to hang it around, but Aussie Albie looks like he's lost the position here. Coming down the pit straight, he's going to start into the slipstream though. The only G is trying to weave around and trying to stay out of that slipstream. He's got the slipstream of Tuggy Bear ahead, which will help him try and defend here from Aussie Albie. So for the time being, it looks like the only G is pulling away in a straight line here. It's going to be 3 in a line astern down this pit straight here. Can the only G look for a move here up the inside of Tuggy Bear into turn 1? He's going to go for it, and is he going to go late on the brakes? He is indeed. It looks like we're side by side coming into turn 1. The only G on the inside is going to try and run over Tuggy Bear out of road, but it looks like he's not got the position. Tuggy Bear with a nicer exit there on the left hand side, and he's going to maintain the position for now. Aussie Albie just watching this unfold, waiting to get involved in this action. Is the only G going to go for another late move up the inside? No, he thinks better of that one. He's still got Aussie Albie on his outside, still trying to get involved. But for the time being, it's as you were in this fight here for 6th position. Great racing here from these guys. And in the meantime, NRP, our race leader, is pulling out that gap at the front. He's got 3 seconds here to Swiss Tony. Swiss Tony trying to defend here from Falguest, still very, very close on the track. This is soaking wet conditions, and these guys, it doesn't look like these guys are going to be changing to the dry tyres anytime soon, because it looks pretty much set to stay here. And the visibility must be absolutely treacherous. I would not want to be one of these guys on the track. Whilst we've been talking about the front runners here, we have got our sprint race winner, Richie 95, making massive headway here on these front guys. Last time around, Richie quicker than anyone else on the track except Nicky. So Nicky, the only man going quicker than our Frenchman here, currently running in P4, made his way through the pack. Obviously started at the back due to the reverse grid nature of Thursday Night Lights here. He won the first race, the sprint race, very, very convincingly, and seems to be making good progress here in this one so far. What's happening in the battle here for 6th? Looks like Aussie Albie's going a little bit wide there, coming through the final turn. Looks like the OG is going to put alongside him here, coming down the pit straight. They're still going to get a run on him though. Looks like Aussie Albie's going to slot nicely into the slipstream here. Coming down this pit straight, the only G is weaving in and out, bobbing and weaving everywhere, trying to keep Aussie behind him. It looks like the only G's got better straight line speed, and that's allowing him to keep that gap for the time being. Still Aussie Albie in the slipstream, still trying to stick with him. Last time around, these guys very, very close in terms of lap time, just a 10th separating them, so they're very evenly matched. And we see the ODG going very late on the brakes there, looking to the inside here of Aussie Albie. Aussie Albie's going to go a little bit wide, and that's going to allow the ODG up the inside, back up into P6. Good stuff there from these boys, keeping it clean, keeping it tidy, and Aussie Albie back up into the position for the time being. What's going on in the battle for P2? It looks like Falguest has had an off somewhere. Last time around he was 2 seconds slower than Swiss Tony, so Swiss Tony's really got that thing going. And interestingly, Swiss Tony last time around half a second quicker than our race leader NRP. So NRP's definitely got something to worry about now. As this track dries out, it looks like Swiss Tony's finding the grip and potentially discovering a dry line here in this one. We can see that there's definitely a dry line appearing, and as the sun comes out and the rain subsides, the grip will become a lot better, and the lap times will start to plunge. But at the moment, it's NRP leading us around. He's got just over 3 seconds here to Swiss Tony, and NRP made a fantastic start to this race, really got it going, and he's got the position to show for it. Can he take the feature race win here in Thursday Night Lights? Almost won he came close in both of the races last week, was on the podium in both of our races for TNL 21 at Spa in the Renault RSs, and it looks good for it at the moment. What's going on in the battle here for P6? It looks like Aussie Albi and the only G still not separated by much, but that may be the concertina effect on the timing board by the looks of it, because the only G looks like he's a little bit away from Aussie Albi here. Let's ride on board with him and see what he's seeing. Yeah, he's a little bit far behind him, so I'm not sure what the timing board's saying there, but we'll have to just take that with a grain of salt for the time being. Falguest and Richie now very close on the road. Richie has been making his way through the pack. Richie's actually matching the lap times of the two leaders, NRP and Swiss Tony, so if he can get him some clear air and start chasing these guys down, it's going to be a hell of a race. At the moment, Falguest doing everything he can to try and fend him off, but Falguest's pace has dropped off just a tad here as the track dries out, and he'll be probably looking forward to getting some dry tyres on as soon as he can. JR Sim Racing says tracks drying up, fastest laps are being set. Yes, they are. And in fact, NRP last time around 53.4, so he's really got it going now. And in fact, Nicky is responding to the pressure. He went a second quicker than Swiss Tony, so Swiss Tony's going to have to be on it if he wants to get the race win in this one. He can see that NRP disappearing off into the distance at this stage in the race. Falguest still holding on here from Richie. Richie is putting him under ever more pressure, but Falguest lapping 2 seconds slower than our race leader, and a second slower than our man in fourth, Richie. So for the time being, Richie is looking like he wants that position, and is putting him under more and more pressure as the race goes on. John Boy and Aussie Albi are going to go side by side. Oh, actually, it looks like Aussie Albi's getting a little bit loose there, and John Boy's going to hold into position, but Aussie Albi's still there on the inside. Can he put it up the inside? It looks like he can't for the time being. He's going to have to back out of that one. Still John Boy holding on. Aussie Albi's still right there though, putting him under pressure and letting him know that he's not going away just at this point in time. The only G's dropped off for these guys as well, so Aussie Albi is absolutely hounding the back of John Boy. He's got a nice exit out of this last turn at the moment. John Boy still holding on, but it looks like Aussie Albi, he gets a little bit loose on the curve, and that's not going to help him at all. Aussie Albi's going to drop back here and fall back into the clutches of the only G, possibly. Not what he wanted there, but as you can see, that straight line speed of the KTM still pretty handy at this point. Thank you, JR. Richie is still holding off Falguest, just 0.2 of a second separating these guys at the moment. You can see there Richie taking a little bit of a wider line there, and potentially getting a little bit of too much of the wet line on the outside. You can see he's trying to stay on that dry line, but Falguest is back up the inside into the final podium spot for the time being. Good stuff there from Falguest. You can just see Richie there. He made the move on Falguest, but got a little bit loose. Maybe went off the line just a little bit, but you can see in this part of the track there, that's absolutely bone dry. And then as soon as you get into the braking zones, that's where you see the water's really being kicked up once again. But in the straights, the track is completely dry, so now is the time really when guys are going to be thinking about making that switch to the dry tyres. It's all just a waiting game in this one, and you just never know what's going to be happening with the pit stops. But at the moment it is Falguest holding off Richie, and it looks like Falguest responded that last time around. Richie was closing in on him quite consistently, but nobody at the moment is matching the pace of our race leader here, NRP. He is doing 1 minute 53s and is cruising here out front. He can just make a decision on when to change tyres whenever he wants at this point. He's got a 6-second lead out front as he comes over the line to complete lap 12 of this race. We are half distance here in the feature race for the 22nd edition of Thursday Night Lights here this evening here on the Robbins Racing channel. If you want to become a part of Robbins Racing, then be sure to go to www.robbinsracing.co.uk and register yourselves as drivers. Hit that sub, like and bell button, and don't forget to donate to us, and just become a part of the most authentic sim racing experience on the PlayStation 4 platform here on Project Cars 2. NRP doing his fastest sector times. You can see the track still drying out. He's still doing his quickest times. Aussie Albi has brought it into the pits, and it looks like John Boy's going to follow him in. Are these guys going to be changing tyres here? They were on lap 12 of this race, halfway through, and is this going to be the time now? We'll have to keep an eye on these boys and see what sort of times they're doing, because if the dry tyres turn out to be the quickest tyre, we're going to see absolutely hordes of guys bringing it in and making their changes. At the moment it's just a waiting game. These guys will let these guys be the dummies in a sense to see what happens and see if it's the right call, or whether whether it's maybe a little bit too early. We can still see a lot of spray on the track and a lot of reduced grip, so it could be a massive risk for Albie and John Boy to be making their changes. We'll have to wait and see in a couple of laps time. By the end of lap 14 we will know whether or not it is time for the dry tyres. At the moment NRP is still enjoying these wet tyres by the looks of it. He's got a 5-second lead, but having said that, Swiss Tony has closed in the gap so far on this lap. It was 6 seconds, it's now 5.5 as NRP exits the final turn now to come round to complete lap 13. Let's see what Swiss Tony's doing. Swiss Tony, well, you can see the Constantina there, he's losing time, so let's have a look and keep an eye on the sector times and see what the what sort of times we're doing here. NRP is going to come over the line here. Let's keep an eye on the timing board, just see what sort of time this is. Here he comes. It's a 1:53.5 for NRP, and Swiss Tony. What's going on there? Did we see someone crashing in the background? I'm sure I did. Yes, someone's lost it in the background. And as we see, Swiss Tony is actually slightly slower than NRP. I think that's Falguest there losing it on the entry to the pit, so that's a disaster there. He's bringing it into the pit lane to change to the dry tyres there. That's very unfortunate for him. He looks like he's got it going once again though, but the battle at the front, very close actually. NRP and Swiss Tony lapping within 11 thousandths of a second of each other, so nothing really separating these guys. 5 seconds on the track, but a pit stop can totally change the mix and really throw everything up in the air once again. But NRP's done a fantastic job. He made the moves, got himself in the position he needed to be, was master of the full wet conditions, and he's doing pretty well in these changeable conditions as well. In the meantime, we've got Falguest in the box, and looks like he's been in that for some time now, so that is the dry tyres on for Falguest. And let's keep an eye on John Boy and Aussie Albie. Looks like Aussie Albie's running in P7 at the moment. It's coming over the line now. Is this an outlap? I think it's still an outlap. Yes, it is. So this lap is going to be the one. This is going to be decided. This is going to tell everybody what the right tyres are to be on. If Aussie Albie absolutely smashes it this time around, then we all know that it's time to change to the slick tyres. At the moment, most of these guys out there on the slick tyres. Looks like Old Smoky, Aussie Albie, Falguest, and John Boy have all made their switches to the slicks, and I think Alright Turkish may have been in for the slicks as well. So these guys, essentially the dummies, testing it out for everybody else. And there we go, Aussie Albie with his fastest first sector so far of this race, but he's staying over the radio there that he's got a little bit less grip than he had before, but he's done his fastest sector of the entire race.
No, I'm still on wets.
Oh, we're just doing a team radio. He didn't change tyres, so Aussie Albie taking a gamble here and trying to stay on to the onto the wet tyres until the end of the race. That would be an unbelievable gamble. The track is set to dry out in this one, so it was a very brave decision there, but it could pay off. We'll have to wait and see. So that means that John Boy is really the first guy to see if the dry tyres are working here, because I'm pretty sure he did stop for dry tyres. He's 30 odd seconds behind Albie, and they came in together, so he must have changed. As you can see here, coming through the first sector now, and here we go. Looks like I don't know if he's on the soft tyres though. We'll have to get word on that. I'm pretty sure that John Boy is on the slick tyres.
I've switched to a new set of wets, Andy.
Oh, so he's changed on the wet tyres. So John Boy, we're just hearing a team radio there. He actually didn't take the slick tyres. So it looks like nobody really wanting to take a risk at this stage in the race. Falguest is our highest running driver on the slick tyres at the moment. So he's about to start his first proper lap since changing tyres, and is it going to pay off for him? We'll have to wait and see. We'll get back to him in 2 minutes time to see if these are working, and be a representation of what these guys can do. Having said that though, only 10 laps left to go in this feature race, so it'd be a gamble either way. Andrew Ambachui says Porsche almost 20 kilometers an hour faster down the straight. Yep, they're absolutely rapid. Looks like some of these guys have got the Gianettas very well set up for the straights, like Falguest. So it's sort of making up for that that deficit that we saw in the practice sessions yesterday. And that middle sector, they're absolutely killing it. And here we go, Falguest, 0.6 of a second faster than his personal best in the first sector. It looks like the dry tyres are the tyre to be on at this stage in the race. He's absolutely got it nailed down here at the moment. Here he comes, sliding it here through turn 4. So it looks like at the moment the slick tyres are the ones to be on. But is it worth changing? Is it worth taking a risk and losing all that time in the pit stops? We'll just have to wait and see. Falguest currently a minute off the pace at the moment, but he's going to be lapping considerably faster now. What do the leaders do? What does NRP do? Richie, Swiss Tony, all these guys. Looks like Swiss Tony's in the pits. He's responded to that news here, and he's in the box. Is he going to stop for the slick tyres here? Here he comes. Swiss Tony stopping in the box now, and we'll be able to tell by how long his pit stop is whether or not he's taking tyres. It looks as though he has not switched for tyres, so Swiss Tony is staying on the wet tyres till the end of the race.
Oh, I missed that.
Looks like he didn't select the tyres correctly there. Swiss Tony's going to have to do the rest of the race here on the wet tyres. Disaster for Swiss Tony. His strategy has not gone to plan. His pit crew letting him down there. The only G is bringing it into the pits. Is he going to change to the slick tyres here? Let's see how long he's in the box for. If he's in there for more than 5 seconds, we'll be able to get some idea of whether or not he's changing tyres. It looks like he is not changing tyres, so he's staying out on the wet tyres here. The only G making a gamble and trying to get to the end of the race here on the wets. What's our race leader doing? NRP's currently got a lead of 12 seconds here at the front of the field over Richie. Richie's had a good fight back in this one, but currently he's a second lap slower than Richie. Race leader Nicky doing 153.1 at this stage in the race. JR Sim Racing says only sector 2 is wet, dry tyres 100%. Well, JR, we're seeing a lot of guys changing to the dry tyres. What's Falguest done? Falguest, 3 seconds faster than anybody else on the track at the moment. So the dry tyres are the ones to be on. So let's work it out. 3 seconds over 10 laps. That is going to be about 30 seconds plus Nicky and Richie have to pit. So Nicky and Richie are going to have to bring it in pretty sharpish if they want to protect their lead from Falguest. Falguest has got that thing absolutely flying around at the moment. He's going 3 seconds, 4 seconds faster than anybody else out there on the track. So Nicky and Rikichi are going to have to respond because they still have to do a mandatory pit stop no matter what. And it looks like they haven't done for the time being. They're staying out there, and Nicky's going quicker than Richie. Nicky's actually just passing the traffic there. It looks like it might be, is that Jag? I think it's Jag there. Oh, it's Albie. So it's Albie that he's just lapped there. Nicky doing a phenomenal job here, keeping pace with those wet tyres, those worn out wet tyres, but no one can keep up with the pace of Falguest at the moment. 150.2 for him last time around, and he's going to come into the final turn. Let's see if he's going to be making continued gains. JR Sim Racing says longer they leave it, the more they lose. Well, JR, they could be considering on staying on the wets until the end of the race. If they can continue this sort of deficit, then it may work out. But Falguest is surely going to get quicker and quicker with the track drying out, I would have thought. Here he comes over the line. Falguest is currently 4th in this race. He's just under 56 seconds behind the race leader, but the race leader still needs to pit, and he's going, here we go, 5 seconds faster that last time around, Falguest, than our race leader. So it's now or never. I think Nicky and Richie are going to have to bring it in if they want to compete with Falguest's pace here. We've had a few retirements here, some pit crews not making the right calls and not changing their drivers to the right tyres here. Dougie Bear's currently in the pit lane. Let's see, I think it looks like he's having a tyre change there. Yep, he's having a change to the soft tyres. And Tuggy Bear now on the soft tyres here, currently in P5 in this race. Nicky looks like he's going to be bringing it in here. Yep, he is. Our race leader is going to slow it down to 37 miles an hour. And where is he going to come out? Is Richie going to do the same thing? Surely, with Falguest going the pace that he is in the background, he's got to change tyres here in this one. It's a matter of when. And here we go. Is NRP changing tyres? Here he comes into the box. Let's keep an eye on this and see if he switches. Richie. It looks like he's going to be changing tyres. Yep, he's up onto the jacks here. And you can see, yep, tyre change is occurring. So Nicky changing to the soft tyres, and Richie also in the box. Jack goes up and he's also changing tyres. So both of these guys changing onto the slick tyres, and Falguest here is coming round currently in 3rd position. Where is he going to come out in relation to these guys? Can these guys stay ahead of Falguest as he comes round? It's going to be very, very close. Richie's off the jacks. He's out and released into the pit lane. Looks like Nicky has been released way ahead of Richie here. Where's Falguest? He's coming down the pit straight now. Nicky is coming to the end of the pit lane. Looks like he might have Falguest here. Looks like he's going to retain the lead. Not by very much though. Here comes Nicky out of the pit lane. Falguest coming over the line just about now. So I think about 5 seconds between these guys on the track here. This is going to be incredible now. Can Falguest close that gap, or can Nicky keep that lead and hold on to the race victory here in the feature race for Thursday Night Lights, the 22nd edition here at Fuji? Nicky Nicky's got a 5-second lead here over Falguest with 7 laps of this race remaining. Can Nicky keep that position and take the victory here at Fuji, or will Falguest produce an unbelievable performance in the closing laps of this one? Stay tuned, guys. This is going to be a hell of a finish. Richie looks like he's out of the running in this one. He's down in 3rd place, running in a final podium spot. Looks like he's got that podium spot well and truly secured here in this one, but it's all down to Nicky and Falguest. Nicky has controlled this race from the early laps, made some headway in the first couple of the laps, made a lot of moves, good overtakes in the full wet conditions, and he's got that position purely down to the hard graft that he put in at the start of this race. But he's got Falguest chasing him down, and as I say, I would be nervous if I was Nicky, but I wouldn't be lacking in confidence. Nicky's one of the quickest drivers here at Robbins Racing. He's a member of many of our leagues here, and we all know what he's capable of. He's taken 2 victories here in the Robbins Racing League, so we know he's got what it takes to stand on that top step. And he's showing that sort of form once again here on lap 18 of this race. We've got 6.5 laps left to go in this one until the checkered flag's going to be waving here in the feature race here at Fuji. Lee Kendall says pit now NRP. Well, he followed your advice there, Lee Kendall. YouTube Pixels says, can I join? Yes, you can, YouTube Pixels. Go to www.robbingsracing.co.uk, register yourself as a driver. You have to do our evaluation and make sure that you meet our standards and all of that stuff. But as long as you've got Project Cars 2 and a PlayStation 4, you're more than welcome to join us. JR Sim Racing says, how old are Falguest tyres over Nicky? Falguest has been on those tyres for 3 or 4 laps now. Yeah, 4 laps. Falguest just telling us there. So looks like Nicky at the moment has got a severe pace advantage. But Nicky for the moment doing a brilliant job here. Guys, if you want to join Robbins Racing, then go to www.robbingsracing.co.uk and become a part of the most authentic sim racing experience on the PlayStation 4 platform. Join these guys out there on the track. And you can be one of these guys, stars of the YouTube PS4 Project Cars 2 scene. NRP currently doing an excellent job here out front, lapping quicker than anybody else. He's got a bit of traffic here in front of him, but he's keeping his nerve and keeping his cool at the moment. Looks like we've got Alright Turkish and Jag both in the pits, making their change to soft tyres here. You can see Alright Turkish on the jacks. Jag forgot to put the fuel in, so he's had to do a last ditch emergency pit stop there, and he's only got 7 litres in now, so I don't think he's going to make it. By the looks of it, he's going to have to bring it in again, because he's not got enough fuel in that car, not anywhere near. YouTube Pixels, how do I find it so I can register? Just go to www.robbingsracing.co.uk. We see our race leader coming up on Aussie Albie here. Looks like Aussie Albie running in P8. It's made a good start to this race, but it hasn't worked out for him so far. He drops off the pace a little bit. P8, it looks like he's got a penalty from the race director. He's got the race leader coming right up behind him here in this one.
Sniffing down Old Smoky.
And we're just hearing Aussie Albie there saying that he's closing that gap on Old Smoky, so he will not want to be letting the leader past unless those blue flags are waving in his face, because he's got a target up the road. He's going to be going for 7th place here, is Aussie Albie, and the only G's not too far ahead of those guys either. So it's pretty close here in this one at the moment. These guys are just closing this race out. 5 laps left to go in our feature race here for Thursday Night Lights 22nd edition here at Fuji in the GT4 class. Be sure to join us at www.robbingsracing.co.uk. Hit that sub, like and bell button. As we see Aussie Albie there pulling over to the side, and I'm sure that Old Smoky will have to do the same in a few corners time, so Aussie Albie shouldn't lose too much time in the grand scheme of things. That 7th place is still well and truly on, and this battle I'm sure is going to rage on until the final lap of this race. There you go, YouTube Pixels, there's the link. I'll put it in the comments. And here we go, so that is Old Smoky there pulling over and letting, that looks like the race leader past, and in the meantime Aussie Albie is going to make the most of that, and he's also up the inside. Aussie Albie takes advantage there of Old Smoky. Yeah, there we go, brilliant stuff there, very opportunistic. Aussie Albie obviously saw the blue flags being waved for Old Smoky and took his opportunity as well. So Aussie Albie up into P7. Next up for him will be the Only G. He's lapping 6 seconds quicker the last time around, but I feel that may have been Only G coming in for his pit stop. So it's going to be interesting now whether Aussie Albie can hunt down the only G in the final 5 laps here of this race. Just 7 seconds separates them on the track. Aussie Albie's going to have to go approximately a second a lap quicker if he wants to rein in that gap. We'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen here in the closing stage of this race. In the meantime, our race leader NRP is starting lap 21 of 25, and he's got an 8-second lead here to Falguest. His tyres slightly younger than Falguest, so the grip in that car just ever so slightly better, and we're seeing that here. Last time around, Nicky only 3/10 faster than Falguest, but he's got track position and he's got that gap, and it's going to have to be a hell of a task for Falguest if he wants to rein him in. Looks like Nicky's got this one, barring any kind of major catastrophes in these last couple of laps. YouTube Pixel says, can you type the link in the chat? I have done, it's right above you, mate. So at the moment, Nicky doing sector times which are about 1/10 of a second off of his fastest time for the time being. He's got some traffic here. It looks like that was the only G there pulling over to the side and allowing Nick to take the position. And next up for Aussie Albie is going to be the only G. Here it looks like John Boy has got past Aussie Albie, so Aussie Albie's had a moment there, and Aussie Albie, it looks like he's not. Who's that losing it? Is that's the back marker? It must be all right Turkish or Jag there losing the car, but John Boy has got past Aussie Albie, so he must have made a mistake. John Boy, I think it must have been John Boy. Yeah, no, it must have been somebody else making a mistake there. But Aussie Albie, can he close the gap here on John Boy? He's got past the only G here for 6th position. Just 4 seconds separating John Boy and Aussie Albie. They've both got traffic. This traffic is very distorting here. It's definitely confusing the situation a little bit, but it looks like John Boy and Aussie Albie are going to go side by side. Aussie Albie up the inside, coming into the final turn. The Constantina's saying they're 3 seconds apart, but it looks like they're side by side there. And Aussie Albie up the inside, up into P5. Good stuff there from those guys. I was getting very confused by the timing board there. I thought they were miles apart. I was thinking that was traffic there for Albie, and then all of a sudden I saw the position change and realised that he's actually passing John Boy for position. So he's up in position. Tuggy Bear currently going around in P4 in this race. Good performance here in our feature race for Tuggy Bear in these GT4s. Clearly likes these cars and is enjoying this track here at the moment. What's going on at the front? We've still got NRP with a 7-second lead. Last time around, Falguest slightly quicker than NRP, but I feel it's too late for him to do anything about that in the closing laps of this race. 7 seconds is the gap, as I've said. And you can see there in the background that Aussie Albie is actually keeping tabs with Nicky. He's maintained that gap to him. You can see he's just been visibly always there in the background. So hats off to Aussie Albie for keeping that pace despite being a lap down on our leader. He's really stuck with it today, and you know, it's good to see that he's still keeping pace with our race leader despite being a lap behind him. But NRP's been untouchable in this feature race here this evening. Where's Richie? Looks like he's still 15 seconds behind our race leader at the moment, running in our final podium position. Richie took a dominant victory in our sprint race, absolutely ran away with it, got pole in the win in this feature. It's not gone entirely to plan. Obviously he had to make his way back through the pack with the reverse grid that we've got here at Robbins Racing in Thursday Night Lights. But he's still done a commendable job to be in the podium positions, especially with the wet conditions we had. It's not easy to make your way through in the wet. So well done to Richie. Currently in P3, runner-up in the Saturday Night Prototypes League. Always runs near the front in any races that he competes in. It's good to see him doing a good job here. He's coming up on a little bit of traffic here at the moment. It looks like that may be Old Smokey in front of him. So Old Smokey's going to have to be aware Richie is coming through. But it's all about NRP at the moment. He's about to start he's 3 from home here in this feature race. He's got Falguest losing time on him all the time. Nicky comes over the line and it's only 1/10 of a second off of his fastest lap there. So Nicky keeping those laps coming in consistently for the time being. 9 seconds now is lead to our man in second place, Falguest. JR Sim Racing says he made the right call. Another 2 or 3 laps and he would have been on him. Nice work there, Nicky. Yep, definitely. It was Falguest. I think if Nicky hadn't responded when he had, like JR says, then Falguest would have probably jumped him in the pit lane. It's because Nicky was alert and on the ball, and I could see that Falguest was closing that gap in the mid pack, and he made the right decision, brought it in. If he'd left it 2 or 3 more laps, as JR says, that could have been the lead gone. But as you can see here, Falguest is still sticking to the task and has actually closed in so far on this lap. It was 9 seconds at the beginning of the lap. It's now 8.5. So Falguest still not letting Nicky completely relax He's got 2.5 laps here as Nicky left to go in this feature race. It's great to see our league coordinator here on our Discord running out at the front. This will be his 3rd victory in Robbins Racing if he can keep it going. He obviously won in the GT4s at Silverstone a couple of seasons ago. He took the win in the Clio Cup special event at Nürburgring Nordschleife the other night, and that was his 2nd win. He had to wait a long time for his... Oh, as we see Falgas losing the car coming through the S section after the chicane, and is that going to allow Richie to have a look in? Richie's going to close that gap. We can see a lapped car unlapping himself there on Falgas. Falgas then instantly takes the position back, sliding the car all over the place. Looked a little bit like James Hunt when he had that back marker overtaking him in Rush. I don't know if anyone has seen that scene in Rush, but it looked a little bit like that. Same part of the track as well. So that was pretty cool. But Falgas for the moment is still in 2nd place, but he's got Richie in the background homing him in. He's less than a second between our guys in 2nd and 3rd place, so this is battle on here for 2nd place. But Nicky, I was saying about him, obviously he had to wait quite a while between his 1st and 2nd win here at Robbins Racing. But by the looks of it, he's not going to have to wait very long between his 2nd and his 3rd win, because he's currently got a 14-second lead with just 2 laps left to go, and he hasn't put a foot wrong here in this feature race this evening at Fuji, as controlled it from the early laps onwards, made some hay in the wet conditions to start off with, and hasn't looked back since. It's all about this battle here for 2nd place though. Who's going to get it? It's Richie and Falgas going side by side here, coming through turn 2. It looks like Falgas looking to the inside, on the outside, but can't make the move at the moment. Richie still holding on for the position, and you can see Falgas absolutely hassling the back of him. Is he going to make the move up the inside of Richie? Looks like he's going for a dive here. Falgas having a look, but has to back out of it in the end. Richie holding on for the position for the time being. We saw obviously Falgas made the mistake a lap ago coming out of the chicane, and Richie picked up the 2nd position, but Falgas not willing to lie down and let him take it. He's still hassling him as they come up towards the chicane. Is he going to go late on the brakes? Is he going to try and make a move here? Richie brakes a little bit early, takes Falgas a little bit by surprise there, and as we see Falgas having to get it very, very late there on the brakes, heavy on the brakes as well. But for the time being, Richie holding on to the position here as we come through this S section towards the end of the laps. Still a lap and a bit left to go in this feature race. Richie clinging on for dear life. We saw obviously he was allowed to pick up the 2nd position due to Falgas' mistake this time a lap ago, but Falgas, as we said, just not letting this one go, still sticking to the back of him like glue. But as we see there, Richie getting a lovely exit out of the final turn, and he may have this one all done and dusted, barring any kind of major incidents on this last lap. He's got just over a second here to Falgas as they come over the line to start the last lap. Our race leader, NRP, is on the last lap. He's got 15 seconds here to Richie, and he's controlled this one. It's great to see Nicky running out the front. Tuggy Bear running in 4th position at the moment. We got Aussie Albie in P5 currently in the KTM. The only G running by himself in 6th. John Boy, Old Smoky, P7 and 8. Then Alright Turkish and Jag still going round 9th and 10th. Good to see the guys keeping with it here this evening. We've got NRP, who's coming into the final half a lap here in this feature race here at Fuji in the GT4's 22nd edition of Thursday Night Lights here this evening. And I don't know if Nicky has won a Thursday Night Lights before. I'm not sure. I'll have to get word on that. We know he's... I don't think he has. I think this will be, if he can keep it together in this last half a lap, it will be his 1st ever victory in Thursday Night Lights here at Robbins Racing. And massive congratulations if he can keep it together for this one. Looks like he's going to do it. JR Sim Racing and obviously mentioned about how if Falgas had stayed on those tyres, or if Nicky had stayed on those wet tyres for a couple more laps, then Falgas could have jumped him. But saying that though, it looks like Nicky's had more confidence in this since they changed to the dry tyres, and has probably been quicker and has had more outright pace. Here he comes into the final corner now. Nicky, our resident marshal from Silverstone and league coordinator here at the Robbins Racing Discord, is going to be running our Clio Cups next season for tier 2 for the touring cars. Here he comes. NRP is going to take his 3rd win here at Robbins Racing and his 1st win in the Thursday Night Lights. NRP takes the feature race for the 22nd edition of Thursday Night Lights here in the GT4s at Fuji Speedway. Fantastic driving from NRP. Richie is coming round in 2nd place. Looks like he's going to hold on. Falgas in the background flashing his lights saying good race there, well driven. Richie likewise returning the gesture as he comes over the line in 2nd position. Falgas is going to come round in 3rd. We got Tuggy Bear a long way behind in 4th position, and it looks like he's just coming through the middle section now up towards the chicane. So it just goes to show what an unbelievable job these top 3 guys have done. They really put in a hell of a shift in this race. NRP, Richie and Falguest, hats off to all of those guys. Lee Kendall says fantastic racing everyone, well done NRP. Yep, absolutely, has totally killed it in this one, as did Richie and Falguest. These guys classes of the field. Nicky on the last lap there doing the fastest lap of the race, a 1:47.7, so he will take the plaudits for that one. I'm sure everyone will be congratulating him here at Robbins Racing for a fantastic drive. Really dominated this feature race, as did Richie in the sprint race. So both these guys taking fantastic jobs here. Tuggy Bear out of the last corner now in the KTM. He's going to complete the top 4 there, flashes his lights for the cameras. Good to see Tuggy in a good position here in our feature race. Aussie Albie's going to come around in 5th place. Looks like he's a lap down. So in fact, Tuggy Bear, the last of the riders on the lead lap here. NRP, Richie and Falguest, fantastic job to our podium finishers. Tuggy Bear, Aussie Albie, the only G John Boy, Old Smoky, Alright Turkish and Jag complete the top 10. And the retirements from the race were Swiss Tony, Matty Cake, Lightblade, unfortunately Amber Chewy as well, and Fury didn't start the race. So unlucky to those guys. Thanks for sticking with us, guys, and for checking out the race and seeing what happened. Obviously Nicky taking the win, brilliant stuff, takes his 3rd win in Robbins Racing. Richie 2nd, Falguest completes the podium. Thank you guys for joining us over on YouTube. If you want to join Robbins Racing, then go to www.robbinsracing.co.uk and register yourselves as drivers. Our new season announcement will be coming up either tomorrow or the day after, this weekend at the latest, so be sure to check that out, sign yourselves up and get yourselves involved. From all of us, it's a very good night and peace.